Welcome to our series. Today we're talking about the tool of me, you, we listening. What is this? What is me, you, we listening? That sounds a little strange. Which listening are we in? What are we doing? There's a company, I'm going to put it up right here. It's a phenomenal company for coaching training. It's called Coactive Coaching. So let me put their website up for you. That's Coactive Coaching. And I really, really like their work. And they have a framework which they describe, and specifically, actually, let me go to it so you can see it. They describe this framework as internal listening, focused listening, and global listening. And I can share this with you. It's from their website. But there's a colleague of mine who introduced me to this. Her name is Ming. Ming Tan is one of our coaches. And when I was speaking with her, we were talking about listening during coaching, and she said, Senia, really what you're talking about is me, you, we listening. So just to kind of backtrack and get back to what we need. Sometimes you're in a situation in which you need to listen more or you need to listen differently. In those situations, try this, the me, you, we listening. All right, so let's go through all of them. Me listening. This is what me listening looks like. If you are speaking to me, I'm thinking, oh, I've had a similar experience, or, oh, I wonder if this person has tried this, or, oh, wow, I wonder how long this session is and how am I doing as a coach? So it's all of that that's really focused on me and my thoughts and my observations and my judgments. I'm not even using judgment in a bad way, but my judgments about what you're saying. That's me listening. You listening is when you're speaking to me, whether as a coach or as a business partner, as anybody, you're listening to me and I'm completely focused on you. I'm listening to you, I'm observing you, I'm noticing what you're saying between the lines. That's you listening. It's entirely focused on you. I don't even think about what am I going to say next. I listen, I ask for clarifications when needed. When you've paused, then I start to think. And that is actually a tricky thing to do. It is very tricky to a little bit turn off the thinking when you're listening. So you listening already has a little bit of a challenge, and then we'll get to we listening. So to summarize, me listening is I'm kind of in my head and I'm thinking about the conversation from my point of view. You listening is I'm paying attention to you, what you're saying, and reading between the lines of what you're saying as well. And then my favorite is we listening, which is also sometimes called everything listening. We listening is I'm speaking to you. I'm also aware that I'm here, but I'm really listening, same as you listening to you. I'm listening to between the lines, and I'm also observing you. If I'm on the phone with you, I'm listening to your tone, where you pause, where you speed up. If I'm on video or in person with you, I'm listening to how you're saying things. Is there an ease about how you're speaking? Is there a heaviness? Do I notice you leaning forward, leaning back? Do I notice your shoulders even get tense? All of this is part of my observations of you in the service of listening to you. So we listening is all in the service of listening to you. There's not any me listening in there. There is you listening, and there's more than you listening. There's that observation. There's an observation of how we relate to each other. For example, if I'm leaning very far forward, you may start to lean back. Or if I'm sitting very far back and very relaxed, you may want to get my attention and lean forward, but observing that kind of interaction. So I'll summarize, and then I'll end with what is your takeaway? How will you use this today? How can you shift into we listening for some of your conversations? How can you stay in me listening when you need to? So if you're being coached, it's all about you. Stay in your me listening. If the conversation is about you, it's about you. So it's not like me listening is bad. It's about our agility and being able to move from me listening to you listening to we listening. So with that, I'll summarize. And tell me, as I'm summarizing, let me know. Where can you use more we listening? Where can you use more you listening? Where can you use more me listening? So let me start from the summary. Me listening is about me paying attention to what's going on in my head as I'm listening to you. You listening is I'm paying attention to everything about what you're saying and between the lines as well. And we listening, my favorite, and also my favorite as a coach, is paying attention to what you're saying, you're between the lines, and the vibe, the relationship that we have, how you interact with this context that we're talking about, the content and the context, what it means to you, how I can get into the whole of what you're saying. That's the we listening. Thank you so much for joining us today for me, you, and we listening. and see where you can use these tools. Okay, I'm going to pause and see what are you taking away? Where in your life can you use more we listening? Where in your life do you need to do a little more me listening? What is your take on it? So I'll pause a little for you to give me some comments on this. And as you do, I'll remind you, we're here every day, Monday to Friday. We're losing our focus here. We're here every day, Monday to Friday at 11 a.m. Okay, so you're saying you need to use a little more we listening. That is fine. I get that. But I want to encourage you, me listening is also important. So don't just throw one away in the service of the other.